Check 1, 2.
Go! Curious about real estate? Yes! Then you've come to the right place. Get the knowledge you need. Get over the fear and get started. This is the Michael Quarles Real Estate Show with your host, Michael Quarles.
Hello, everybody. Michael Quarles with podcast number 128. Today, we're doing the 5 questions sent in by real estate investors like yourself and who had a question, needed an answer. We're going to try hard. Send your questions to support@bsffacademy.com. One more time, support@bsffacademy.com. Here we go. Question number 1. What happens between the first call with Alex and the second call with Ryan? Are the 7 data sets pulled for house values at that time? Are other items verified? So here's what happens in our system. We have Alex's that answer the phone, and we have what appears to be a long script, but I think there's only like 16 or 17 questions to it, but because it's filled with all the rebuttals. So if a seller said something, we have all the scripts for the Alexes to say something. If they said this, they say that kind of stuff. So it appears to be longer than it is. And it's pretty thorough on how to answer every question and have the rebuttal for every comment. But the Alexes, what they're trying to do is they're trying to get through the call. And at the very end, they make a determination on, is the seller willing and wanting to sell their house, or are they just not at this point showing enough motivation to sell their house? So that's kind of a judgment call at that time by the Alex, and that's what we wanted them to do. Is we want them to judge it based upon what they've felt. If they get all the information and the seller has provided all of the information, then it's absolutely an appointment for Ryan. If they had a hard time getting the information, they haven't gotten it all yet, most of it, but not all of it, then it's not going to be an appointment. Or if the seller says, I don't want to make an appointment, it's not going to be an appointment. So what happens at that point is we have an enormous amount of appointments for our Ryan teams, and more appointments than the Ryans can actually facilitate. So we have a lead Ryan who then starts pulling, well, they're going to go through each of the appointments to see. One of the questions we ask is, what are you hoping to sell your house for, and what is it? And the one other question is, how much do you think it's worth? Now we ask them different ways with different sentences, but that's the gist of the two questions. If those two answers are the same, or they want to sell their house for more than they think it's worth, we're kicking. That's not going to fall forward into a Ryan call. So the person that's kind of in charge of the Ryans is sitting there looking through the calls and saying, okay, this is not really an appointment. They're going to send it back to the Alex. When they send it back to the Alex, it goes back into the Alex system for Alex rotation, so the Alexes continue to follow up on it. So once an appointment gets made, it comes out of the Alex rotation, and now it's up to the Ryans to do all the work. Well, when we send it back to them, then our systemization, our CRM, re-tags the owner of the contact, so they get to play with them now. But if we have someone that has answered the questions correctly, and they want less for their property than they think it's worth, then we're going to run our 7 data sets and kind of confirm some numbers. If we're seeing that their numbers on our 7 data sets are great, then we're going to fall forward, and the Ryans are going to call them back. If we're seeing that what they thought their property was worth what is not what it's worth, it's much lower, then we're going to send it back to the Alex, and the Alex is going to evaluate it with the seller. So they're going to go back into their system, tagged the owner of the contact again, call them back, let them know that we need to adjust that value down. And if that value adjusts down, then are they willing to sell their house for less? And if they are, then they're going to set out another appointment for the Ryan, and we're going to do that again. So we have someone we have a Ryan before the Ryans call them back, and doing the 7 data sets. So I think that's an important step to get rid of the dead calls, the time-consuming calls, the calls that we should have never been on the phone with them in the first place. But I don't, and again, remember the system's created so that the people within the system don't have to be trained to be real estate investors. They're trained to ask questions, and based upon the answers of those questions, we get result. And so it works really well because I can pop someone in a chair and instantly that day they're going to start making appointments rather than having to have someone go through a year-long coaching program. So once it goes into the Ryan stage, and then the Ryans do their stuff and get contracts signed and what have you. But great question. And I know that was a long answer, and guys kind of have to see how it works. It's kind of to see it really working and how powerful it is to actually see people, my 7 Alexes, 3 Ryans, 1 Angel, and it's pretty amazing stuff. Question number 2. What determines whether or not the seller is qualified to have an appointment with Ryan? I kind of answered that, I think, a little bit, but the reality is they want much less for their property than it's worth. So they don't want more for their property. They want less, and they have interest in selling. So it's not, I'll sell it if I get a good price. But that's not going to be a Ryan appointment. It may have tried to be a Ryan appointment, but during the Ryan supervisor's stage, she's going to listen to that voicemail because we record all the calls, and she's going to hear that terminology being used, and she's going to kick it for that just because the person's really not motivated. So in order to see or chat with the Ryan, they have to be willing to discount their property. They have to be motivated to sell and wanting to sell, and then they fall forward.
Thanks for listening to Buy, Sell, Fix, Flip. We'll be right back. Are you running out of leads? It's time you tried Yellow Letters at yellowletters.com. Get motivated seller leads through Yellow Letters, postcards, zip letters, typed professional letters, greeting cards, door hangers, and business cards. Yellow Letters is a full-service marketing company created with your success in mind. Get the personal attention you need to get your direct mail campaign started and get in touch at yellowletters.com.
And we are back in 3, 2, 1.
Question number 3. Do you or have you ever used Corelogic's tool Realquest for analyzing properties when evaluating properties such as running comps? Actually, I use both of them. I use the professional one and the express. So I pay for both memberships. They give me something different. So I like the algorithm. Cost us $25 typically to run an algorithm on a property. The other one is unlimited, but it doesn't give me the algorithm, and I think it's like $250 a month. So I like both tools, and I think having the tools and the resources at our fingertips is pretty important, especially when you're buying all over the place. So they are 2 of our 7. Question number 4. I was reading a blog by an investor in the Northeast who was documenting their marketing results, sending out postcards. The blogger was having less than 1% response rate on their postcard campaign over about 1 year time frame. The blogger's conclusion was that the postcard marketing was ineffective in the Northeast region where he was marketing, and discontinued sending out postcards to focus on other marketing strategies. Have you or any of your students found similar results where postcard campaigns were not effective in certain regions? I love postcards. And again, we're marketing all over the place. And it's just one piece of the 6 types of mail that they're going to get. And they're going to get 2 postcards, 1 yellow letter, 1 professional letter, 1 greeting card, and a zip letter. But the beauty and the power, and if you get 1% response rate on your postcard, you're a superstar. So basically what this person did was threw a superstar status in the trash when he decided to stop. So what you get with a postcard is you get a serious caller at most times. Rarely do you get take me off your list kind of person. Where you get those kinds of non-serious, take me off your list, why are you calling me, or why are you bugging me kind of people with the yellow letter. The professional letter, you don't get as many of those kinds of folks. The zip letter works really well, and the greeting card just outstanding. So if you understand marketing like I do and cluster marketing, you have to use all 6 pieces. But whoever this guy was that trashed himself, I feel really bad that He didn't know enough about marketing to know that 1% on postcards are great, but he should have been adding other types of mail along with it, and he would have seen some great results from that. Question number 5. How big of a deal would it be to list a property without the water and the power turned on? I would do this through the escrow period, and when I own it, then I would turn the water on. I'm having the power inspected to be turned back on so I can put that in the budget and the seller won't spend the money to have them turned on. Well, let's face it, if you're going to buy a piece of property and it doesn't have water or power, you can't show it really well because people have always checked the faucets and the toilets, that kind of stuff. But without the power, you create what we call a greenhouse effect, and you never really want to do that. So you want to keep the power on so the climate remains the same inside the house that it's typical to. So you don't want the house to get really, really hot and dried up and things to start cracking and deteriorating. And you just got to keep the water on. What are we talking about? A couple $100 a month? Who cares? If the seller doesn't want to do it, you got to do it. So, if you're looking at a, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 payday at the end of the day, what's $400, $500, $600? And yeah, I'd absolutely keep those on. And in my case situation, I would just be, brash enough to tell the seller, hey, you have to keep those things on. You want to sell me your house? Until it's my house, you have to do that. It's part of my contract, in fact. So, be a little forceful. I mean, they want your money. Yes, they do. They want your money. And some of us think, well, no, I have to do whatever I can do to get them to sell me the house. You know what? They want your money. You're in control. You have the money. Yes, they have the house you want, but your money is more important to them than their house is to them. And understand that that's the concept that you have to run your business by. You have to be ethical and moral and fair, but the reality is it's their property. Unless they deed that property over to you today, then they need to maintain the property in the condition that it is in when you bought it. Now, if you bought it and it didn't have power or water turned on, get that turned on your own. But if it's already on, they have to keep it that way. And my contract says they have to keep it that way. So just tell them what you have to do. And people like to be told what to do anyway. And so fall forward. And maybe you have to, because maybe they are super tightwads, and there are super tightwads out there. My goodness, I know some. Maybe what you have to do is have to say, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you an extra $500 at the time we close so that you can keep the water and the power on. All right? Do something. Negotiate it. But make sure that stuff stays on because you do not want a greenhouse effect on your house that you're going to be buying because it's not going to be pretty. That was fun. Going back up to the Alex and the Ryan stuff, you guys can absolutely listen to the Alex and Ryan calls. If you're coaching students, most of you listen to it already. You can subscribe to the membership. It's like $49 a month to actually, listen to a call every day. And we load one a day because we buy a house every day. And they're pretty educational kind of stuff. So you can actually do that. You can buy the Ryan and Alex scripts as well. So if you want to start using those in your business and become an investor who doesn't knock on doors but does everything over the phone, those scripts are available. So we have those tools at your resources. Just jump on the Academy website or call support, and support will help you with all that. This one was a fun one. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Michael Quarles Real Estate Show. Get more info and stay in touch at michaelquarles.com.